Kantara, a culturally and cinematically rich Kannada language movie that is rooted in the Tulu culture and traditions of Bhuta Kola. There are quite a few rare quality cinematic pieces of art that we come across and feel good about watching those movies. Where we are going towards quite a fast paced modernized civilization, the representation of folklore is becoming less frequent to be seen in Indian movies. Kantara reminded the Indian audience that a spectacle is hiding in Indian folklore, dating back to the most ancient dates. One such folklore comes from the Tulu culture in the rituals of Bhuta Kola, which Rishab Shetty introduced and represented in Kantara. Other than the ritual of Bhuta Kola, Kantara also represented the annual festival of Kambala. Let's learn a little bit about the background of Kantara's Bhuta Kola and Kambala and dive into the world of Kantara presented through the wild vision of Rishab Shetty. Please keep in mind that whatever I am going to represent is from the research I have done while writing this video script, so some part of this information might be true and some might not. Whoever wishes to skip this section can drag the video to the timestamp mentioned above. Bhuta Kola is the most prominent and celebrated ancient ritual, mostly performed among the Tulu-speaking population in the southern districts of Karnataka. It is also performed in Mangalore and closely resembles the Theyyam ritual from Kerala. Bhuta Kola means the festival of Deva or deity, as a name combines two words together, Bhuta and Kola. Bhuta means spirit in Sanskrit and is pronounced Bhoot in Hindi, means ghost, and is interpreted as deity here, which means Deva or God in a cultural sense. Kola means play or performance in the Tulu language, which is interpreted as dance for Bhuta Kola. For the Tulu speaking community, the ritual of Bhuta Kola can simply mean a dance performance for Deva deity. But to mind you here, for Tulu people, Bhuta Kola is not just entertainment as it will sound to many. It is a way they express their gratitude and worship of their deity, who it is believed protects their people from all sorts of danger, be it natural or human made. The anger of these deities can bring bad luck to the person who causes it. Different deities are worshipped as a part of the ritual, but are worshipped only particular to the significance of the community, location, and even ancestral lineage, including deities that are wild animals, agender, and anthropomorphic. Some of these deities' names are Kodamanitaya, Jumadi, Siri, and last but not least Panjuli, who is a deity resembling wild boar and is featured in the Kantara movie as a significant part of its story. And there is another deity named Gulligar too, coming out at some point in Kantara. Panjuli is a wild male boar deity and his name translates to young wild boar or wild boar offspring in the Tulu language. Panjuli is perceived as a more gentle and forgiving deity, while another deity named Gulliga is a fierce and aggressive spirit. According to Padnas, the Tulu's oral literature, Panjuli is believed to born from the blessing of Lord Shiva as he killed one boar embraced by goddess Parvati due to rage over that boar ruining Lord Shiva's garden in Kailash. On the other hand, Gulliga is believed to be originated from the stone embraced by goddess Parvati, as Lord Shiva throws it on the ground and was sent near Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu cursed Gulliga to be born from Nelaola Sankhe. I couldn't find more about Nelaola Sankhe online and hence can't confirm this particular point. Gulliga came out of the stomach, ripping it wide open rather than being born from the womb. It is believed that while Panjuli protects the house, Gulliga protects the whole area around the house. Because of this, perhaps, the deities are called demigods and not gods, as their origin stories are unknown and still related to Hindu gods. Both Panjuli and Gulliga are also often worshipped together in a few places. The worship of these deities in the ritual of Bhuta Kola is done with the involvement of certain artifacts and props with the person performing the dance of Bhuta Kola. Women's participation is not allowed in the ritual, so you will always see a male performing it. It is believed that the spirit of a particular deity possesses the person performing, and it is a deity who controls a person's motor and verbal mechanisms, while the person is still conscious there from the mind. A burning torch called Jitige is lit upon the start of the ritual and is considered the main restraint for the spirit to enter the real world. Sometimes there is one torch and other times more than one, and as the dance progresses, the force and intensity of the movement increases as the possession by the deity continues. The performer is equipped with specific attire and costume, where the first highlight and a step is makeup that is done after applying oil on the face. A more yellowish makeup is applied for the worship of the Panjuli deity and a black one for Gulliga. The costume consists initially of a cover or look-like outfit, followed by tender palm leaves worn as a skirt, a crown on the top of the head, and a halo behind the head called ani, accompanied by different sets of jewelry including anklets named ghagra and other prominent pieces. This dramatization of the ritual provides a visually spectacular view for a person who is not accustomed to the ritual of Bhuta Kola but also didn't feel that it's a bizarre ritual by any means or simply respects it as it is. The social significance of Bhuta Kola can be seen in the communal harmony between the different hierarchical levels. This ritual of worshipping demigods is not a daily or frequent process. Therefore, Bhuta Kola is celebrated like an annual festival and people belonging to different castes participate in the celebration by playing the games such as cockfights and contributing to it as per their responsibilities. Although I didn't find the exact info on what role upper and middle castes play in the ritual, I can say that like how the sponsorship and arrangement are done by the people from the upper caste, the landlords of the village in celebrating Kambala, the buffalo race, the same might be being done for Bhuta Kola. The Bhuta performance is done by the people from lower caste specifically, except in some other cases in worshipping of other spirits. By the way, the annual buffalo race Kambala, which is in Kantara, is not part of Bhuta Kola but cockfight is. The people worship the spirit and keep them close in the form of artifacts and stones. The overall significance lies in the origin of Bhuta Kola, which represents a balance between the three kinds of the realm as we exist. First, the realm of cultivated land. Second, the realm of wastelands and forests. And third, the realm of spirits, bhutas, ghosts in other words. While the first two form the tangible part of the world which we can touch and see, the later spirit realm is that we can perhaps feel. In Bhuta Kola, we not only feel the presence of spirit, the deity of the village and their people, but also sees through the medium, which means the person performing it. The origin of Bhuta Kola is hard to determine, but just like the cockfight, a part of Bhuta Kola, this ritual might be coming from the ages of the Indus Valley civilization of India. The prevalence of this ritual still can be seen in Tulu cultures and particular areas of Mangalore where it is celebrated as an annual festival. We might have modernized and developed a lot since the ages and passing of time, and since independence and globalization, our country has gone through some extensive changes, but there are communities and cultures in our country that remains as it is, reflecting deep faith and respect the people have towards their culture and traditions, no matter how crude and bizarre it seems to our eyes. And I would say it's okay, let it be. But to the people of Karnataka, Bangalore and even other states regions where Bhuta Kola and other similar rituals exist, it is something of immense pride and ecstasy to see someone representing their culture in a cinematically rich way and not judging it in any way. Rishab Shetty, who grew around these rituals and several other influences, found the idea fascinating to build the world of Kantara. So, how the cinematic brilliance and vision of Rishab Shetty has not only worked for people familiar with the culture shown in the movie, but also for outsiders like me who had no idea about this ritual. Still, we found ourselves mesmerizing by the beauty of Kantara. Let's dive into the review and analysis of Kantara, reflecting on how exactly Rishab Shetty made Kantara such a beautiful and brilliant film for both kinds of audience preferring a mass entertainer and quality cinematic material. Kantara, written and directed by Kannada movies filmmaker Rishab Shetty, revolves around the real village of Kadabettu located in the Dakshin Kannada district of Karnataka. Though the name of the real location is used, the reason it's being called the world of Kantara is also majorly because of how the production design was done for the shooting. The production designer and art director Dharni created the village with fine details and intricacy, while utilizing every organic and natural material they can use to make it look realistic. It was fabulous to think that majority of us perceive that the location is real. After all, that is the job of production designer, right? So why Dharni's work is meant to be praised otherwise than the usual work? Well, because Kantara was his debut movie and he planned the whole architecture of the fictional village while discussing it with the cinematographer of Kantara, Arvind Kashyap. Moreover, the production and set that was built for shooting keeps sweeping away from the frequent heavy rains in Keradi village of Karnataka's Kundapur, the shooting location. The whole team consisted of people from Bangalore and nearby locations and worked extensively every time it happened, since the location was important, keeping in mind that the major portion of the shooting will take place in the nearby forest. Kantara was Dhani's debut and he nailed his job fantastically. That's why he deserves the praise, otherwise we would say it was an ordinary task. His teaming up with DOP held the cinematography of Kantara to a really fascinating view and bring out an immersive experience. Arvind S. Kashyap, who has worked with Rishab Shetty previously in Kirik Party as a team of the cinematography and not as a major cinematographer, worked as a head cinematographer, and I would say he nailed it because guess what? Kantara is also his first movie with such a big scale to shoot in the complex yet the real location of the forest. The framing and camera movements by Arvind give an immersive experience to the audience from a visual point of view. To achieve this visual spectacle, Manu as assistant DOP worked meticulously on the lighting part too. As he puts it, they took the help of the locals to set lights on the trees and create a moonlighting shoot setup with minimal efforts that gives a realistic view of the nighttime, yet enough illuminating so the camera captures everything. A moonlighting setup is, as the name suggests, the lighting setup where the natural tone of moonlight is achieved in the movie. Even for the Bhuta Kola sequences, the minimal lighting was done with the use of moonlighting and actual fire to have natural light sources. The cinematography in the whole Kambala sequence followed up by the fighting in the mud is also achieved well by Arvind. The slow motion effect added in and the frequent continuing cuts of choosing the right frame for each scene in any sequence by KM Prakash and Pratik Shetty is something worth mentioning, as the editing department is often something passed by. The combination of cinematography and editing makes the Kambala sequence and the whole movie just a technically cinematic brilliance. The costume design and makeup are the major highlights of the movie, as not only it is something that makes Bhuta Kola sequences come out brilliantly, but it also pays a tribute to the ritual very well. Since the movie was majorly focused on presenting the ritual of Bhuta Kola most aptly, the wife of Rishab Shetty, Prakriti Shetty, as a costume designer did her research part well for the several intricacies in the costume of Bhuta Kola performers, while also looking out for the attire of the characters in the movie. Since Kantara is divided into 3 times period, ranging from 1847 to 1970, and the present generation of Kantara is in 1990. Prakriti Shetty travelled around the village and met the locals to learn their attire and what it was like in the past. I couldn't find the name of the makeup artist for Kantara, but whoever it is, they deserve the whole praise for the exceptional style and design for Bhuta Kola sequence, especially the final sequence where Rishab Shetty performing Bhuta Kola also has a third eye symbol on the forehead, a really fine detail that was not in the first or second sequence of Bhuta Kola. The third eye design of the forehead represents Shiva, which is also the protagonist's name, and Panjuli's origin from Lord Shiva, as we learned in the previous section. The shiny texture that you can see here on the face was something I found weird at first, but as I read about Bhuta Kola and discussed it in the previous section of this video, this is the level of detail by the makeup department and then also Arvind, who made sure that the audience see all the intricate details of it on the big screen just fine. We all know the visual part was great in Kantara. After all, it was a mass entertainer film and had to have visual elements to pull and stick the audience to the seats. However, the one aspect of Kantara that has aided all the aspects I mentioned so far was, of course, the audio department. Film's background score and audio design and engineering were brilliant too. First, we will talk about the film's music given by one-time state award-winning film composer B. Ajanish Loknath. The music of Loknath adds depth to the Bhuta Kola sequences and the horror parts of the movie, not to miss out on the pre-climax fight between Shiva and the goons, and the spine-chilling climax that was just a really impressive and catchy part in the whole film's music for me. The soundtracks, especially for folklore songs being created with traditional instruments and even more surprisingly, sung by the local peoples who actually sing them, just bring out the authentic touch for everyone in the audience accustomed to the ritual, I'm sure. On a side note, the soundtracks in general were lovely to listen to. We should really praise the sound department of Kantara for the intensity they added in the movie to bring out that goosebumps feeling, especially the sound for the Bhuta Kola sequence and for both the spirits, deities of Panjoli and Galiga. But without talking about the star of Kantara, Rishab Shetty, this video is incomplete. His stubbornness to have the set, costume and camera framing right, but also above all, dedication to playing the role of Shiva, a Kambala athlete, is par excellence as not only an actor but also a director. We know how as a director he nailed his job, but let's look at his efforts as an actor and a writer. Rishabh Shetty is acting as a hot-headed, horny rodeo villager and a Kambala athlete, with fine detail in his look to keep his teeth always covered in some sort of tobacco was good. But his acting skills and presentation really come out amazingly in the climax and the final Bhuta Kola sequence. If you think about what his character as a child saw, seeing his father disappearing mysteriously in the woods performing Bhuta Kola impacted his mind a lot. So as a person enduring and living up with childhood trauma, Rishabh Shetty not only shows his rodeo and aggressive fighter side well, but also his vulnerable and weaker side, bringing a two-dimensional depth in the character more than a typical hero. This also speaks volumes about the writing of Kantara, which was focused on the story, keeping Shiva as an integral part of everything happening. His father disappeared in the wood while performing Bhuta Kola, and he instilled a fear of ever performing the ritual, and kept going on with his shenanigans and foolishness in the village while being excellent at what he do. That doesn't really consider a well-respected job in his village, especially as the only child of a Bhuta Kola performer. The disappearance of his father, combined with his fooleries, referring to him hunting wild boars regularly, even when his mother shows aggressive disapproval of it, and bringing harm to the forest by deliberately cutting down trees, all comes out well by the end of the movie. In the climax, his father's soul, having the spirit of Panjuli, gives him power right at the moment when we thought he will die. And to everyone's amazement in the movie, it was the power of the most powerful and aggressive deity among both of the spirits, Galiga. After ending the conflict of the whole story about land acquisition, he performs the Bhuta Kola, something he always felt reluctant to do, and he finally reunited with his father at the end of the movie, something he was always longing for internally. Fine. All the cinematic brilliance is there and Kantara is a blockbuster in its own way. But this just doesn't convince me that does it has something really compelling and moving as a film. The answer lies in simply the first section of the video, or better I should say the significance of the Bhuta Kola ritual for the people in Karnataka and related cultures to Bhuta Kola. As I explained in the previous section discussing Kantara's background, the cosmology or the origins that gave birth to the ritual of Bhuta Kola reflects on the significance of a balance between the three realms according to Padnas, the oral literature of Tulu culture. The three realms. The realm of cultivated land means the land that people cultivate to use it for their means. The realm of forest land means the land that has always existed and includes both flora and fauna. And the realm of spirits, that is inaccessible to normal people and consists of all the souls and spirits that is neither something seen nor touched. Rishabh Shetty's character Shiva respects the traditions and loves his village a lot and is protective of its people and his dear buffaloes. But he can be seen putting harm to animals of the forest by hunting, poaching and eating wild boars, and also cutting down the forest trees deliberately and reluctantly in an attempt to fulfill his selfish motive to bring down police officer Murli. While he supports his cousin and respects the ritual of Bhuta Kola a lot, he is also afraid of the same ritual due to the traumatic experience he faced in his childhood in front of his eyes, as he learns about the true colors of people around him. On one side learning about the greedy side of the upper caste landlord, and on the other realizing the intentions of police officer Murli to protect the forest, while also closely connecting with deities at the end. He brings a balance in the village and the respective three realms existing there. Contrary to the most traditional sense of Bhuta Kola as discussed in the background, the ritual consists of a few things that Rishabh Shetty showed quite differently, something which I'm truly impressed with and won't miss mentioning and would like to draw the parallels. While the matrilineal lineage is followed among people, however, the inclusion of women in performing the ritual is strictly prohibited, and in some places even the women's participation is also not allowed, which is dependable upon the region. Rishabh Shetty shows Leela's character as an educated woman with strong willpower and affection for her village. She comes out as a warrior in the climax, standing strongly on the grounds fighting alongside all the men, contributing significantly to the story. The ritual of Bhuta Kola involves harmony between different castes as everyone divides their responsibilities and supports each other. Rishabh Shetty shows the conflict between the upper caste character of Devendra, a landlord in their village, whose ancestors offered the villagers a 100-acre land in return for the blessings of the deities, which will bring his ancestors peace. Devendra acts nice at the surface but is a true believer of untouchability and practices discrimination at its best, never to have anyone realize that he is doing it, as he is greedy to steal the whole land his ancestors gave to the villagers free of cost and excuse of the deities which he believes. Non-veg offering to some particular deities, specifically Galiga, is an important part of the ritual. Rishab Shetty's character too eats non-veg and hunts wild animals, but soon he learns the true nature of protecting his people and the village. Interestingly, the movie shows not even once the offering on non-veg and even shows Galiga eating puffed rice, something totally opposite to what I found online. The Kannada film industry is on another level this year, with the release and craze of KGF Chapter 2 all over the world, 777 Charlie's unique concept and portrayal of a human-animal bond, and now the acknowledgement of Kantara as both a cinematically and culturally Indian film. Kannada's film industry is claiming itself as a rising film industry in the Indian cinema space. Something personally I found most charming about each of the mentioned movies by Kannada filmmakers is how well they create and present their characters, especially their main lead. We have a belief that the male lead in a commercial flick is always meant to be a typical masculine guy with no expression of feelings and emotions while fighting like a superhuman. But in KGF Chapter 2, we saw Yash as Rocky shedding tears at the death of Reena. In 777 Charlie, we saw Rishab Shetty as Dharma sobbing and weeping for Charlie. And in Kantara, we saw Rishab Shetty as Shiva wailing and crying for his cousin brother Guruva. And in each portrayal, you see a different relationship, and combining the power of each actor's stardom clearly communicates to the audience that men can cry, something which is yet to be explored and portrayed much better in an Indian cinema and even TV space, and I'm waiting to see that day. So, does Kantara deserve each and every praise it is receiving from all over the country and is regarded as the highest rated Indian movie on IMDb? What is the value of Kantara? In a nutshell, to some, it is a shallow movie that has nothing impressive or unique in it. To some, it is an absolute masterpiece. While I will agree with both of the point of view as first, yes, Kantara's story origin showing not finding peace within and the plot about the land acquisition and conflict around it seems pretty weak as a story and might not be offering anything mind-blowing to a particular set of audience. But second, yes, Kantara is almost an absolute masterpiece also for what it tried to achieve by showcasing the nature versus human story, combining it with the visually spectacular representation of the Bhuta Kola ritual while having layers in the writing. The cinematic and culturally rich representation with the thematic elements being present in the story makes Kantara a movie worth praising and deserving of the attention it is having right now. Although I'm a bit turned down by the navel pinching part, Leela's contribution to the story is something I would like to focus on and would like to see it getting rectified by the filmmakers themselves, as I understand that creators only cater to what their audience demands. But if it can be better, then why not do your best? I found this short movie on YouTube that is based on the Bhuta Kola ritual and Parjoli, and also come across a Tulu language movie named Jitige portraying the life of a Bhuta Kola performer, which also won the National Award for Best Tulu Movie. I won't claim that these are the inspirations behind Rishab Shetty's idea for Kantara, but these must have been inspirations if we saw them. I would recommend watching both of these movies to support them as we did to Kantara. This short movie is good with a nice background score and camera work. I will share the link in the description and links for all the references that were used for the creation of this video. Hope you like this video and my efforts. Comment down below about what you have to say about anything and please share your valuable feedback. Hit the thumbs up button if you like the video and share it forward to support me. Feel free to check out my other videos on the channel, and hey, don't forget to subscribe to be updated with my content. I will see you the next time. Till then, bye bye.